There are only two genders, and gender is not a choice. Because I'm a transsexual, there is an expectation that I believe in more than two genders. Well, I don't. In newer times, political correct people are discussing how many genders there are. According to Facebook in the UK, you have at least 70 options. Others will believe there's not a limit and gender is a social construct. On top of that, there's also a discussion going on if people identifying with made-up genders are under the definition trans. To me, it's important to differentiate the people who are truly transsexuals and the people identifying with numerous fake genders created by the identity politics segment of the left. What is transsexualism really? Transsexualism is caused by the medical condition called gender dysphoria. It's not caused by a choice, a wish, or an opinion. Gender dysphoria is an uncontrollable and powerful discomfort with one's biological sex and can only be alleviated by going through a gender transition, meaning living as the opposite sex. A gender transition contains hormone replacement therapy, gender-affirming surgeries, changes in the legal and the social life. Non-binary people claiming they're not men or women, but are in between instead, their gender identity is caused by an opinion, feelings, and a choice. And it's not caused by something biological, factual, or scientific. What non-binary people or people identifying with made-up genders have in common is that they don't suffer from gender dysphoria. Even though they claim that they're being creative with gender, it's quite easy to notice how they don't go through a gender transition, but rather change up their hairstyle and get extra face piercings. The singer Demi Lovato came out as non-binary back in May, and I actually predicted this because of her new short haircut and her new friendship with the non-binary activist Alec Vernon. But I never got the $100. Damn it. I regret so much I didn't make a real bet. Demi Lovato is a perfect example of a wannabe transsexual with the intentions of gaining minority points and victimhood status, instead of pursuing internal peace, which real transsexuals' intentions are. If you don't go through a gender transition, or if you don't have the desire to do so in the future, you are, in my opinion, not trans. Trans means from one side to the other. It does not mean in between. Floating in between genders is, per definition, not the same as being trans. If gender was fluid, gender dysphoria would not exist. I was dysphoric about what leftist activists would call outdated stereotypes. How does it make sense to go through hormone replacement therapy, getting surgeries, if real men can have boobs, white hips, and a high-pitched voice? Non-binary activists are enjoying getting attention by showing off elements of their body that would make real transsexuals dysphoric. When you see hairy men with dresses and makeup on, real trans women get really uncomfortable, which is also what they've been fighting for so many years not to be seen as. Gender is not a choice, a performance, a costume. Again, I would not have gone through hormone replacement therapy, getting multiple gender-affirming surgeries, if I can just avoid it. If gender was fluid and a choice, I would choose to stay as a girl. What non-binary people need to understand is how they confuse gender expressions with gender itself. There's a million ways to be a man and a woman, not a million genders. To create more genders to seem more diverse actually comes off as the opposite. It's actually putting a limit on how you can be a man or a woman. 99% of non-binary people are on the left, and they carry around this narrative that right-wing people are close-minded, yet they are the ones claiming a masculine woman is not a real woman and a feminine man is not a real man, and they're instead non-binary gender fluid. In my opinion, we should rather tolerate different types of men and women instead of creating more genders. I find it provocative how these people are hijacking and becoming the spokesman for LGBT. Men with beards and dresses are invited on the red carpet, in the media, and hosting speaking events, while real transsexuals are invited to the seats at the back row. It's ironic because the whole reason why anyone is listening to these activists is because they're using the goodwill, they are using the acceptance transsexuals have achieved over the years in order to promote their own political agenda. An agenda that, in my opinion, is not about trans or equal rights, but more changing the society we all know, a society they see as their enemy. It's not people like me and real transsexuals who want to change how society looks like just because of our own experiences and feelings. We're self-conscious people acknowledging that biology can't be changed by hormone therapy or surgeries, but we just want to live a happy life with our condition alleviated. The goal is to live as normal men and women. Trans activism should not be about changing basic knowledge like how many genders there are, what it means to be a man or a woman, but it should be about equal rights in society. We don't need to break down structure and fundamentally change society in order to exist. We assimilate. It's not the majority that should adapt the minority, it's the minority that should adapt the majority. Surprisingly, my form of trans activism has worked a significant amount more than what these crazy radical trans activists are doing right now. I try to stay calm, open, respectful, and patient. That respect and openness is something I get in return. It's amazing. But the left's trans activism is failing. They demand regular speech changed by force, and people have to think a certain way or else they're transphobic. Yes, I am a transsexual, but I will continue to distance myself from the leftist ideology you see in the LGBT community in the West right now, and I will never apologize or bow down to the ideology's soldiers.